What's going on, YouTube? So, coming back at you, man, with another video today, with another podcast style video here with Sam Steinmeier, better known as King Stein. Stein, what's going on, man? Give us a little intro. What are we going to be talking about today? Let's hop straight into it.
What's up, Rob? So today we'll be talking about our vices, in particular drugs and alcohol, because these are the two most common vices that people have a problem with. If you look at 99% of the world, actually, in Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil, the three most common vices he talks about are drugs, alcohol, and sex.
Hmm.
And if you can master these three vices, you're going to destroy life. But particularly drugs and alcohol are the ones we're going to focus on today. And got to stay away from them because everyone is addicted to them in some form, way, or shape, or another. And that's where the discipline comes in.
Yeah, amen to that, bro. And I guess the first thing we'll do is you got a lot of people where they've never puffed a joint, they've never taken a sip of alcohol, and they come on here. You might have these kind of people in your life, and they're saying, "Why are you smoking weed, man? Why are you drinking alcohol?" Right? But then it's like you can't quite relate to these people because they've never done it, and it's like, bro, like you're a nerd. You're a nerd. Like, be quiet, bro. Now obviously it's it's not a good thing to have these as a habit, right? I think if you're young and you're experimenting with this stuff, yeah, probably isn't the end of the world. But if you got a lot of people where you try weed a couple times, you're 16, 17, 18, cool, you're in high school, whatever, and then you're 25 and you're still using this stuff daily, right? So with that said, it's like, Stein, I know you and I have indulged in these things, right? And obviously we've gotten away from it. So why don't we both just kind of give a 30-second to a minute sort of view on our experience with, say, substances and alcohol, um, just so these people know they're the shoes that they're in right now could very, very well is where we were, say, 3, 5, 10 years ago, whatever, right? Whatever that may be for you.
Yeah, so the first time I tried both alcohol and weed were both in college. And the number one thing I can say to that is that I was influenced by my teammates. I played college baseball, and they were influencing me to try drugs and alcohol because I've never once drank alcohol before until I was 18 or 19 years old, and I never smoked weed until about the same age. And they influenced me to do it. And what I can say to that is that the number one piece of advice that I've ever heard in my life was never trade places with someone who you wouldn't switch places with in life, or never take advice from someone who you wouldn't switch places with in life. And this is another form of sales. They're influencing me to try drugs or alcohol. They're selling me drugs or alcohol. Obviously, it's not for money, but they're influencing me on the decision to advise me to do that. And if I look at those types of people that were offering me that, I didn't want to be like them. I don't want to end up like them. And it really just comes down to like who you want to be like in life. And honestly, the number one thing comes down to who you want to be like in life. And I want to be successful. And when you were talking earlier, I noted on my paper here that every single successful person that I know, or every successful person ever, stays away from drugs and alcohol. Like your life will never get any better using drugs or alcohol. Literally, there's like zero advantage to any of them. And I had to note that down just because like I just know so many people who stay away from drugs and alcohol and how successful they are in life right now because just from staying away from that. But 99% of the world cannot stay away from drugs and alcohol. So going back to what you said, about my experience with them. Like I said, my experience is that I wasn't really surrounded by the people I wanted to be surrounded by with, and that's what influenced me on trying these substances. So if I was around the right environment, I literally would never have touched drugs or alcohol probably in my life because,
Wow.
I was in high school. I never did them. I was very, um, I just didn't get involved in that behavior. You could say I had the right friend group in high school, but college, that's when people do all sorts of hard drugs and alcohol and parties and all that stuff. So just being around the right environment would be the number one thing.
Definitely, bro. Yeah, dude. I mean, for me, the first time I smoked weed, I was a freshman in high school. And I remember getting caught after my second time. We were all at a hockey tournament, and our parents basically all gathered up. And one of the kids had like left his phone unlocked when he was taking a nap. And and his mom kind of went through the chat and realized what we were doing. And then I got caught, and I was, scared for a while. And once I realized that weed wasn't a big deal, it is when I started to. By the way, if it's super windy, let me know. I'll try to change the course that I walk on. But yeah, dude, I started to get this belief that it wasn't a big deal, right? And I think my sophomore year, I was doing it pretty much every weekend. Junior year was closer to every day. And then I think towards the end of my junior year in high school is when I actually got a piece, like a pipe at my house that I would rip. And then once I got comfortable smoking at my own house, dude, that's when this totally just cascaded into a habit. And probably when I was, I'd take little breaks here or there, 30 days, 90 days to sort of lie to myself that I was, oh, I'm detoxing, right? But it probably wasn't until I was 22 that I really, it's been over 2 years now, where I really decided, you know what, again, like you said, the people you want to be like, bro. And the people that I was hanging out with, it was just, and I love these guys. I'm still in touch with these guys from time to time, but it's like, if I were to spend the same amount of time and give the same amount of energy to these particular friends that I was back then, dude, again, I'd just be far, far behind, right? It was like, we got so comfortable with each other, right? And it was like we weren't really meeting a lot of girls. We weren't going out. It was just session at, doing a smoke sesh at John's house, doing a smoke sesh at Mike's house or Jonathan's house, right? And it was just the same inside jokes on repeat. It was no productive conversation. We might have done a little skateboarding or something, or skating down some hills and getting outside a little bit. But it was just a complete waste of opportunity cost. And I guess the segue there is when you stop doing this stuff, man, the quality of your life is going to improve so much. I remember, well, the first thing I'll say is when you stop smoking weed and taking part in these ridiculous drugs is you become more aware of yourself. You're not as much in your head. You know what I'm saying? Where you go out in a social situation and you're living a sober lifestyle, it's a lot easier to mingle with people, right? Whether it be a girl you think is cute, whether it be just another guy in the gym that, hey, bro, I've been having trouble with deadlift. I noticed you're putting up a lot of weight, man. You got any tips? Right, boom, boom, boom. Cool. You create a friendship right there, right? Just very, very simple stuff like that. I tell you what, I was never doing that kind of stuff when I was smoking weed. And like I said, it's just from a social aspect and just from how you feel mentally getting off this stuff, weed, alcohol, all these freaking drugs and just bull crap. It's just, I feel like I'm functioning the way I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, having a complete natural, having from natural sources is the number one thing. I mean, you want to have everything come naturally. Um, Obviously, marijuana is grown and it is considered natural, but it's not you if it's normally not used in the right way. And some takeaways I got from what you said there is that how it leads to, all negative behavior. And what I'll say to that is that when I was smoking weed, it was weed leads to bad habits, leads to more bad habits, leads to more bad habits. Like it's just a compounded effect. And that's
Right.
why habits are so important in your life. So you smoke the weed, then you're going to eat the food that's bad for you. Then you're going to sleep in later than you should have slept in. Then you're going to hang out with the friends that you shouldn't have hung out with. Then you're going to skip your work. Like all these bad habits just compound. And that's what weed does to you. So the most important thing is just building these positive habits, these good habits in your life. So that way you're not going down the rabbit hole of these bad habits. You don't want to get in that loop. And another point I'll touch on is having more energy. When I would do this, I would lose so much energy. I would just get so tired all the time because usually like the next day I would just wake up. I specifically remember one time I smoked weed and like I smoked like during the day and I had to play baseball practice. So what happened was I smoked weed and then I had baseball practice right after that. I'll never forget this. After when I had baseball practice, that was probably the worst practice I could have ever had for baseball. I feel like I wasted my time. And, I'm a very, very competitive person. So, like, that damaged me. Like, I feel like I wasted a whole day just because I smoked weed before practice. I wasted that whole entire practice doing, like, just going through the motions and not giving it my all. And, like, that really hits me and that really sticks out to me because like I said, I'm a very competitive person, so I want to give my all that I can at practice, and I wasn't allowed to do that with weed. So we both can relate to weed here. We're both, in particular, both of us are relating more to weed than alcohol, because I would say for both of us, it probably stands out more than alcohol does. But for sure, weed is both of our number ones. Rob, are you still there? All right, looks like we lost Rob. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our podcast on vices, staying away from vices, staying away from drugs, staying away from alcohol. Develop, eliminate these bad vices in your life. Reading Wes Watson's book, I remember what he said was, "Don't worry about adding things from your life. Worry about taking away things from your life." Learn that in Wes Watson's book, non-negotiable. And this is something you need to do. Eliminate drugs, eliminate alcohol, watch your life just skyrocket because you're taking things away that are just not improving your life whatsoever. That's what we have for you. We will see you in the next podcast.